Hey everyone, Ed Diorio here from News 13 on the road. That's our intern Lindsay, and that's my photographer Carl, and we are on our way to Lake Lure because we saw that they're digging up some pretty cool stuff. We'll get into that in just a little bit, but I'm going to take you through my day, how we go out, get our stories as we continue to recover from Helene. This is coming, at least in the Lake Lure sense, from the cleanup efforts there. Lake Lure, one of the hardest hit areas in Western North Carolina, so we're consistently going back there to see how things are going. And we got this story that they're digging up some pretty cool stuff, so we're on our way there now. So this is NC9 that we're traveling on. We came off of 26 right on the border, at least, of Rutherford County. And for a lot of folks, at least coming from Asheville or northern parts of Western North Carolina, you don't normally come this way, but this is one of the side effects of Helene still. It's as you can see, a little 2-lane road, and it's not as fast. It took us, we came from South Asheville, that's where the station's at. We came from South Asheville, and it's taken us about an hour to get to the lake from here, going this way. So we just parked, we are over here, we've made it to Lake Lure. We came up NC9, like I said. And it's about just after 11 o'clock, so we got our story just before 10. Like I said, it took the hour to come down here. And now on our way down, I made a few phone calls to some of the folks that are gonna help us out and finding what we're doing today with this story. But just to give you a little lay of the land, this is our first stop just to get some footage for our story. There's Carl doing his thing, but this is one portion of the lake that you can see, even with these dirt and mud kind of taking up the banks of the water. Overall, still just a gorgeous shot here of Lake Lure. And even then, you know, a lot of you probably saw the destruction videos and all of the debris that was in the water. You can see that's cleared, and a lot of these homes are still, there's likely some partial damage to some of these homes, but a lot of them are still in good shape. They're just missing that water right there under the stilts. Here's another look at Lake Lure from the dam side of things, and as I showed you in the last shot, I mean, it is not even close to being full. There's some water in, obviously, but there, with all of the work going on and trying to remove any sediment and debris, even still, just about 9 months later, you can see they're not filling it up all the way for that reason. And so this is what things look like, and you can kind of see, I'm gonna zoom in as much as I can here, there's still some debris there on the riverbank side, some railings, and then if you look a little closer in the distance, that little, let's see if I can point to it, that little thing right there, that's a boat. And that kind of plays into our story for today. And so that brings us here. That's our subject for being at Lake Lure today, because their efforts for recovery and getting rid and getting through that soil and sediment and debris, while that work continues, they've dug up some interesting things. Some, I don't know if artifacts is the right word, but pieces of cars, old cars, pieces of boat, and just some other things that are from decades ago, maybe even 100 years ago. We're gonna get more on that thanks to the Lake Lure Dock Company. So we're gonna meet up with them a little later in the video. So we're back in the car now. We've got a little bit of time before we meet up with our interview for today. So we're going around just kind of surveying Lake Lure. This is what the beach looks like. There ain't much beach there, at least not water. The water is drained like you saw in those previous videos on the other side of the lake, but the sand and the slide and everything is still there, but it is a little bit bare as you look towards the main roads here, a lot of working trucks and such. So we're just kind of driving around looking to find town hall, maybe find some people around here that can see if they know anything about our story today. So where we're at now, this is the Bayfront, I don't know if you can see the sign right there, Bar and Grill, right here on the shore of Lake Lure. It's one of the lakeside diners, place to get a place to eat, or a bite to eat. So we came over here just to get a grip and see if the people nearby in the area have heard of what we're talking about, and they have. It seems like every single person we've talked to today that is from here or lives around here has heard about these old cars, boats, things that have been dug up or things that have washed up as a result of everything that you're seeing here. All the dirt and mud like we were talking about earlier you know, everything there. So people know about it, and we're gonna get a closer look at it here. Take a look. This vehicle has been here for likely close to maybe over 100 years in Lake Lure. This is before the lake was even built and filled. They broke ground in 1925, and then they didn't fill it until 1927. And this car, well, they're saying it's a truck as far as the size and what you can see of it. This, like I said, the timeline adds up. We're in 2025, and it started in 1925, and this was here before then. And now, thanks to Helene, this and the damage and this exposure of all of this soil and sediment on this bankside, you can now see what is left of this car. This was one of the things that the Lake Lure Dock Company found when they were patrolling the lake within the last week. They put it on social media, got so many views and clicks and engagements. So that's what brought us here to see this. And one other thing. This is the other thing we came to show you. This boat was also discovered along with that car we just showed you there. And this, well, this actually belonged to a gentleman who lived in Lake Lure before it was Lake Lure, in this area before the lake was built. And they didn't know what happened to this boat. So whenever we came in touch with the Lake Lure Dock Company and they said, yeah, we'll take you to go see this, they gave us a surprise. I got to speak with the grandchild of the owner of this boat. And actually, the boat does have a name, if you can see it here. It's the Pooh Bear. That is the name of this boat. It is the Pooh Bear, and that is the name that the original owner of this boat, Mr. Tanner, got for it. And it was going to be a water taxi when the lake was being made. So when they were building it in 1925 and filling it in 27, they were going to have little water taxi boats. It ain't that little, as you can see. And so they were going to have that to help people get around when the lake was first created. So for all the little, you know, kayaks and little boats you may see, like, you know, some other things like that are along the boats here, you can see the size of this is much bigger. So it does catch the eye when you're on the water, and that's exactly what happened for the Lake Lure Dock Company. All right, so we just got done talking to the man who discovered the boat and the car and the grandson. Now we're gonna make our way back up here a little bit. It's definitely still slick here as you come up these river banks here. I'm not doing too bad. I'm coming up here a little bit. We had to meet them down at the dock to do the interviews and meet up for where they were going to take us to find the boat and the truck there. Lindsay, intern Lindsay, that was actually pretty easy coming back up. I almost
so much easier.
Yeah, I almost face planted coming back down, but all right, well, now we go back to the mothership and put it all together to make ourselves a story. After a long day, we are on our way back to the mothership, as I like to call it, News 13's main station in South Asheville. We're in Biltmore Park. So coming from Lake Lure, it's a little bit of a drive. Like I said a few times in this video, it's about an hour. But the thing is that the story today, it airs at 5:30. And so right now, the time of me recording this is 2:35. So we're gonna get back around 3:15-ish. It usually takes me about an hour to go through all the interviews and all the things we've done and write it. It usually takes him somewhere under an hour usually, but I like to give Carl an hour to edit, do what he does, make it pretty, and get it on the air by 5:30 in this case. So we try to get back to the station around 2 hours before our story airs. And so that's what we're trying to do. Now, in some instances, when we're out in the field, we do have to edit here, as Lindsay's just observing and listening to all this, just like you are. So she's getting some valuable experience.
I'm learning.
And she's learning. She is learning. Well, that's good, because I like to babble and she's taking something away. But anyway, sometimes we don't have that kind of time, and you have to grab interviews at 2, 3 o'clock. I've grabbed an interview at 4 o'clock before for a 5 o'clock story. So when that happens, you got to find an Ingles, you got to find a Starbucks, you got to find a place with free Wi-Fi and a place where you can sit down, pop open that laptop and start listening to those interviews and start writing your story, and in his case, start editing on his laptop and things like that. So a little bit of insight. You are working in the field, but today is a day where we're able to go back, get the time, get enough time, just enough time to get back and do what we got to do. But on our way back through Rutherford County. And we're back. Station right here in Biltmore Park. That's a day, ladies and gentlemen. We left at 10, back at 3:15. in the field for what is that, 5 hours, 15 minutes, something like that. I'm not a math major, I'm a communications major. That's why I'm talking to you like this. But you know, that's normally our day. We're usually out for close to 3 to 5 hours, and just wherever the day takes us, that's how it goes. So I'm grabbing everything I need to get back in there. Lindsay's gonna help me out a little bit, and we're gonna get in there, make the magic happen that you will see tonight at 5:30. If you see this, well, it's on Tuesday at 5:30, but by the time this gets posted, it'll probably be on WLOS.com, so you can check it out there and everything else in between. See you next time, folks. That's a day in our life as a reporter for News 13.